only path is my path down forever, T-paper. OUAI, that's my TBT. Go deep sea, check the stacks, I've been GPT. Every damn secure and collateral, still compatible with all my crypto bros in the States and Chinese nationals. So when
What's going on, everyone? It's Underdog Research Channel. Are you ready? Are you ready for a conversation? Are you ready for a conversation that's going to blow your mind because you're going to say, Underdog, how did you know? How did you know before anybody else knew about this connection? Well, we're going to talk about SwiftCoin. We're going to talk about SwiftGPT technology, and we're going to get into it. Before I do that, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Folks, if you haven't already joined the Underdog Research Channel and join the members only, scan this QR code. Do yourself a favor. Go to the link in the description of this video. Press join, because I am going to show you right now today how I have been giving you this information years in advance. And people have benefited, but you don't know what's about to happen, and I'm going to share it with you. Now, right now on this series, let me show you where we're at. And we're going to talk about what this particular conversation is about. So we have gotten through 10 episodes of SwiftCoin, the Connected mini series. And I started a new series which goes further. In that episode that you've been watching with the SwiftCoin mini series, I connected the pieces together. The investment in SwiftCoin itself. I connected it to the overseas rails of money. I connected it to the United States seeds of money. I've connected to the billionaires behind it. I've connected it to the widespread use cases of it. But you are now in a blind spot unless you watch the continuation of it, which brings me here. Let's talk about SwiftGPT exposed $1 million pivot immigration. You will find that no one has found this information, but you're about to get it today. Now, I am giving this as a free episode to everybody because I think that it's important that you are aware of what's happening so you can make the decisions you need to make, because when it happens, it's going to happen fast. Now, I originally brought out the SwiftCoin origin story recently. This was one of the first in this new series I gave you. And what did we find out? I was the first one to bring to your attention that in 2004, this man right here, the current CEO of Swift Blockchain, didn't tell you everything that you needed to know. We found out that 2017 was the date that everyone in the United States of America thought that this project went live. 2017, we thought that most countries who learned about SwiftCoin as a blockchain would know was started in 2017, but it was all misinformation. In fact, we found out only through this platform that it was 2004. We're talking about years, 13 years before you ever knew about Swift blockchain. We found Swift blockchain in China, the Chinese version of it. It's pre-Bitcoin. Now that's got to keep you interested. I told you, I said, what would be the sense of this? Like, why would you see this? Why would it be important? Well, we understand the money rails. We have to recognize that there will be connections that we didn't know. Maybe there's something here that we can use now, how the past can make our present investments more profitable. I started off on February the 7th of 2026. I talked to you about something current, but now I need to reference the past. Folks, we keep getting here early. So early that you don't even see what's going to happen. But let me enlighten you. I'm going to take my time to go through this version of this series. This is typically members only, but for you, because I want you to be engaged with the research, I'm going to show you the difference between a researcher and a content creator with this one right here, folks. I'm going to let you watch all of my SwiftCoin series about this topic which is specifically about the $1 million pivot in immigration and how it affects SWIFT. Let's talk about it. February the 7th, 2026. The dates matter. I premiered the start of this conversation, and I want to bring you back in time to this statement I made in February the 7th of 2026. I hope you're taking notes. Check out what I just said in February the 7th of 2026. 4th of 2024, I'm telling you about what was discussed that would occur in 2025. And at the end of 2025, in the exact quarter that I discussed it, what happened? What happened? SwiftCoin is no longer SwiftCoin. That is no longer. That SwiftGPT is where we're at now. And you don't know the new roadmap, then you are literally gambling away your money. How many times have I been here? Y'all like it, love it, hate it. I want you to win. I've been telling you about the connection to Asia and China and specifically laying out the rails, but it was so early that no one was paying attention. How many of you, or just be honest with yourself, did not take a moment to watch the first Money Trail series in 2024, mid 2024, 2025? You didn't look at the mini series. Now you got wallets that have $1.8 million purchased, and you're still trying to figure out who it is. You don't know what's happening. You don't know who the CEO is. Folks, I've been telling you about this. SwiftCoin GPT, SwiftGPT Exposed is the name of this conversation. SwiftCoin GPT is the name of this conversation. Now, let's talk about what that means for you. I went back in time, and it's not to flex, it's to show you that many people focus on the price action and they wonder why we're in a position so early. And then when it happens, you can't catch up. What I focus on are those conversations that you can't typically see in public. It's not interesting to some people. This is deep research. Typically, my videos are for those like you who like the research. If you don't like the research, you're tuned out, and that means it's not for you. I want people to win who took the same amount of investment in their time as I've invested my time to put us in a position so that when it goes hot, and you're not trying to catch up. But what did you learn from that clip just now? You just learned that in 2024, I learned through the conversation that I gave you in that investigation that some key metrics that shows us where it was going. But I told you that the immigration aspect in that as well is important. A lot of you didn't realize that even the CEO of Swift Blockchain is not Rambo Lamb alone. In my SwiftGPT series, I gave you the forgotten CEO, which was important. Those who are my members, you see this right now. You already know what I'm talking about. You already got 12 to 14 episodes ahead of everybody, but I'm giving this to you right now. So you got to catch up for those who haven't watched those. You got to catch up. Now let's fast forward a little bit more. We found out that these two men, these two gentlemen in front of you right there, they are the SwiftCoin CEOs. There's more than one, not just one. So if you're still working off of 2017 logic, if you still are saying Rambo Lamb, Bo Lamb, AKA the SwiftCoin CEO, if that is where your logic is, you are outdated. And Underdog hates to break it to you, but I want you to be knowledgeable because this money thing that we got going on here, we have to be knowledgeable about. We have to take a handle of it. So let's get into this. But I'm going to go from an angle of immigration. This is what we need to learn. Now, SwiftCoin is no more. SwiftCoin is gone. SwiftCoin is something different, which is this right here, SwiftGPT. Now, You're seeing these people, and if you're members, you know who they are. The first one that you see right there is the second CEO of SwiftCoin. The middle person you're seeing right there is Rambo Lamb, aka Bolan, who you knew was the SwiftCoin CEO from 2017 to present, who started SwiftCoin in China in 2004. We learned this through the SwiftGPT series. I gave you this information on the origin stories. Now, the reason I'm flashing back and forth, because if you don't see the connection, you're going to continue to think that you have to be in a position where you get hyped. I want to put you in a position where you see the historical links to what is going to happen. I keep showing you what happens in the past. It's facilitating itself in the future, and we keep talking about it early. You want to see what's going to happen in 2028? Listen to Underdog in 2026. I told you in 2024, and I'm about to show you right now how it came true in 2026. So let's talk about that. Now, this last person that I put on the screen is going to come out here soon. In fact, the conversation I'm going to have with you is about this big wallet that everybody's been wanting to know about. The number one wallet is SwiftCoin. I want to talk to you about this $6 million wallet. They accumulated $1.8 million in real hard cash between November to the end of November of 2025. But the first transaction was in October of 2025. Now, this is what should be happening right now. Some of you are like, Underdog, I don't understand. You're throwing so much stuff at us. So let me break it down in 3 categories and make it easy for you to follow Underdog. I know exactly what I'm talking about, folks. 1, you don't know SwiftCoin as well as you think you know it. 2, if you still think SwiftCoin is SwiftCoin, you're already wrong. It's no longer SwiftCoin. That company is gone. It is now SwiftGPT. You can refer to it as SwiftCoin. You can find a coin called SwiftCoin, but the company itself has changed. I'm going to identify that change. 3, you got more than one CEO. You got to recognize that you have to pay attention now to a couple of things. 1, what are they doing in the United States from California, Rambo Lamb's version of SwiftCoin? 2, what are they doing overseas in this first gentleman's SwiftCoin? And 3, who is this guy right here in the third? Who is that third guy right there? SwiftGPT. You're going to find this out on the episode, but I want you to focus now on immigration. Let's go to the past, and I'm going to share with you what I said, and I'm going to bring you back. And this is not going to be a complete conversation, but I want to get you started. So pay attention. Put this on big screen. This is what I want to show you. In October of 2025, I gave you another hint, and this is 2026. I gave you a hint, October of 2025. I'll play that hint for you right now so you can remember, and this is what I said to you then. Check this out, folks. Another great conversation today will be about SwiftCoin. If you are in a financial product such as SwiftCoin or XRP or other cryptocurrencies, you need to understand how the immigration laws may have affected these projects. I'm going to give you an example using SwiftCoin because you can apply this to other projects. I had a recent conversation not too long ago where I was discussing this very thing with a member. I'm going to share that with you, and this is what we discussed. Find out how cryptocurrency projects and laws integrate and the effect on the projects you might like. I'm going to use SwiftCoin as an example, but this is what was said. SwiftCoin had to make changes due to the new law. Y'all got to understand, $100,000 for new petitions. So when you talk about the developers, you know how that affected people? It's really affecting these companies. 2 people would be $200,000. What if the company is not making that much money? SwiftCoin does have a friend. John Shin is in a business, American Lending Company, ALC, and Sunstone. He's been doing this for over 25 years, foreign investors and creating businesses in the United States with foreign investment. So that was a saving grace. I'll put it like that. So let's keep it there. October of 2025, I refer back to the conversation I told you in 2024. I introduced John Shin. Now, again, if you're not following Underdog, the only thing you're going to find online are two different conversations. You're going to find technical analysis that tells you the price action of SwiftCoin. You can go to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, get it all day long. Easy, easy stuff. You follow Underdog Research Channel. You found out in 2024 about the connection to a gentleman that you may not have known about named John Shin in California. He had a company. Why did that matter to you? Because I discovered that not only did John Shin have a company, his connection to Swift blockchain, and I told you that he was important. Now that importance comes through now. That importance in 2024 that I told you about then, and I told you about the immigration laws in 2026 that people are not paying attention to, and I told you in 2026, February, that SwiftCoin is no more. I'm going to say it again. SwiftCoin is no more. Now it's SwiftGPT, and we need to now identify and get updated and move on. Do you know what the roadmap is? Because I do. Now I want to introduce John Shin to you from when I told you first about it. When I first brought you John Shin, I brought to you this information. I told my community in January of 2024 that I'll be giving a video about SwiftCoin. In October of 2023, I started researching SwiftCoin. So I waited from October of 2023, November of 2023, December of 2023, January of 2024, when I had a Telegram community. I told my community in Telegram what I'll be talking about, and SwiftCoin was one I was going to talk about. The first video is right here, right here. Now, you don't see it any longer on my platform because I made it private, because I know that individuals who want to utilize it will take the time to become researchers. So I provide it to my members. But this video is the first video I did on SwiftCoin, March the 4th of 2024. Now, I talked to my community about it, but pay attention to what I told you that happened the day after. Pay attention, folks. The day after I did this video. This is what you'll find when we talk about that. Check this out. SwiftCoin received the highest amount of volume in its history in one day at March 5th, 2024, around the same time when John Shin was launching this accelerator and spreading the news about what his company can do for foreign investments. SwiftCoin, where he's a team member, where he founded, raised 111 million in volume in 24 hours, folks. One day, 24 hours. So you wanted to know what all was going on during that time frame, and people were buying everything from Coinbase, and the market was going crazy. SwiftCoin doubled its market cap. It went from 10 million to 25 million, and it kept going, and it stayed there. You couldn't get the project at the same cost. And I'm not even talking about the money. That was just one day. Now, if that was caused by John Shin's interaction in this market, then you're really like this. You know, SwiftCoin and AI go hand in hand. March 4th of 2024. I hope y'all see I'm working you up here. I'm working you up. The timeline matters. You found out. I told you. I was analyzing. I was researching. I put it out there in January of 2024, And then what happened? I talked about it to my community. I'll be doing this video. I was doing other videos on other topics. Finally, I got an opportunity to say, let me go ahead. I see something about to happen. Let me get it out there to my community first. So if you got into SwiftCoin the same day I told you about it, on March 4th of 2024, SwiftCoin was a $10 million market cap. And then the next day, within 24 hours, it had been stagnant for 6 years, folks, falling and falling and falling. The next day, it received $111 million. My facts are right there. can't change it. There's my technical analysis. So that means if you jumped in on Swift the same day you saw Underdog's research video, and the next day you took your money and you took your $10 and you made that $10 a damn $20, $40. You made more money, doubled your money, and then some. 10 million market cap. And just like that, in one day, it shot up because John Shin, this gentleman I told you about, which I'll be bringing out in just a second, John Shin was attached to this. He did a thing called the EB5 investment. It was a run that he was doing in Irvine, California. People didn't see the importance of the immigration. People didn't understand why I'm talking about the immigration. You just wanted to see technical analysis. I was telling you, listen, you got to pay attention. If someone is creating a thing that people can come to and they can promote something that they are managing, it brings in investment. The whole purpose of it was to bring in foreign investment, and they did. And what country did it come from? Well, you need to make sure you're paying attention because something's about to happen now. So $111 million shot up. That's one of three of the most significant price ranges that occurred, and no technical analysis could have told you before it happened. Everybody online was like, oh my goodness, what happened to Swift? What happened to Swift? And my members saw it first because they paid attention. They invested their time. But it's not over with because something new is about to happen. I'm trying to warn you, like I've been before. I'm warning you. I can't give you financial advice, but I can give you daggone research. And that's what I'm about to give you. So now I want you to remember this date. Look at the date. Take a screenshot. Look at the date. Take a screenshot. March 4th of 2024. I told you about this connection to the immigration aspect, and I told you about the connection to John Shin. Now, I want to play something else for you. Then I'm going to show you the up-to-date information. Now, I hope y'all are paying attention. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this up right now. So this is March the 4th of 2024. I told you about the $111 million that we saw. Now, I'm going to bring you to March 31st of 2024. Still your boy, Underdog Researcher. Same person. You just got 111 million. SwiftCoin was at 10 million. Now it's in quadrupled. Went up 4x, 5x, whatever it went up to. You got way more money than what you put in. Then I'm talking to you now on the 31st. You got to pay attention to those dates. The 4th, now it's the 31st. Now, let's pay attention to what I said to you on the 31st of 2024. Investors that want to do the EB5 program. So let me show you why this is all connected to SwiftCoin. EB-5. And what does it say? The program is an Invest in Immigrant program created by Congress in the United States, folks, in 1990. International localized support for our investors and distribution partners are in China, Vietnam, and India. You have to put in as a company in order to even be eligible for this particular program, which we know there's a connection with SwiftCoin. Well, this is what it says. When investing through a regional center, the minimum capital investment requirement is $800,000. And when you select a project in a targeted employment area for the projects not meeting this criteria, the capital investment requirement, $1,050,000. Green Card Fund actually seeks quality projects that reside in these areas that are invested in immigrant opportunities and are available as many qualified investors as possible. All right, here we go again, folks. Now we're about to get there. I'm telling you, if you're tuned out, the next couple of minutes, I'm getting to the point in the meat of this. So don't miss out. Don't tune out. You're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. I promise you. I promise you're about to regret it. Check the dates. This is not about me. This is about recognizing the times. It's about recognizing the correlation between the topic of immigration, the topic of AI, the reality that SwiftCoin is no more, the reality that it has been updated to SwiftGPT. That's the emerging of AI and SwiftCoin, remittances, and GPT, that is the AI portion together. This is the reality that SwiftCoin was based off of what? A CEO who came to the United States using a process called the EB5 investment. This is about me recognizing that through the pattern, through the research. This is about me telling you that in 2024 and March the 4th, you saw it. March the 31st, you saw it. This is about seeing the money on the 5th of March of 2024 after I just recognized the pattern. Now it's March the 31st of 2024. Say it again with me one more time, folks, because what I'm about to show you is about to blow you away. March the 31st of 2024. One more time for the people who just don't believe the Underdog is predicting this through the research about immigration. March the 31st of 2024. Nobody can change it. It's right here. Let's see what happens next, folks. Let's move to 1 year later. Notice March the 4th of 2025, just in case someone didn't see it. My video, March the 4th of 2024. Then March the 31st of 2024. And then I want you to see this one more time because y'all don't see it yet. 1 year to the day after Underdog was telling you what was going to happen on March the 4th of 2025, the executive order proposal for EB5 investment by a particular individual. And let's see what they say.
This is a good way to reform the laws we have on the books without throwing out the baby with the bathwater, right? The EB5 visa system essentially allows foreign nationals to pay $1 million, come to the United States, as long as they launch a business that creates, I think, 10 jobs within a calendar year. Seems pretty straightforward. We're bumping up the barrier to entry right here. It makes perfect sense to me, and we're trying to promote job growth. I see this as a win, and I see it as like a thing for Donald Trump to go fully in on and bridge the two wings of the immigration caucus amongst Republicans while doing it in a way which, like, Democrats can't really say, oh, this is inhumane.
Yes, yes, yes. 1 year to the day. In fact, released at the same hour that I released my video. A year later, they did this. I came first, folks. They released the proposal. I need you to understand the proposal that would go in place with the current administration regarding the same topic that I said was important, that I told you that was important in this video, that I told you that was important in this video. Now, I want to do this. I want you to remember there were 3 things that you need to know. I told you at the very beginning of this that the SwiftCoin immigrated from China to Singapore. We only paid attention to when it was in the United States in 2017 and it released on Coinbase a little bit later. That's when we paid attention to it because we had access to it, but it was already there, making business decisions, making connections way before we got there. And because most of us were blind to it, we didn't even look for it. But Underdog looked for it. I want to find out why, when, where, why, and how. The 5 W's, because it just can't appear out of nowhere. They've had to make some connections. So how did they get here? They immigrated through. They, meaning Ramble Lamb and his team. Who was that team? I've identified that team. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But it was important. In order for them to get there, they had to put down $1 million. How did they get it? We know how they got it. Tim Draper. But the problem with Tim Draper, the crypto billionaire, the problem with you knowing that, which we'll talk about shortly, is Tim Draper's investment didn't come to 2018. See, I'm about discrepancies, folks. We got to pay attention to the dates. So if they're here in 2017 and they had 1 year to make that $1 million and to get 10 American jobs. How did they get the money? John Shin, who is also a millionaire, a multimillionaire, who does specialization in EB5 investments, who actually started a company that we'll talk about in a second. And now I'm telling you that the immigration mattered. I'm telling you that SwiftCoin was doing this, and I told you they was doing this because they had to do this in order to get that connection between China money and Asia money and to the United States. They are working the laws to their advantage. And then there's the proposal. They were grandfathered in. They got theirs in before the president and this administration ever thought about it. In 2024, I was telling you about it. In 2025, it was proposed. But let me show you what just happened in 2026. Let's get to it. 2 years later, almost to the date, let's play what we just learned about the EB5 investment proposal.
Exactly.
So the EB5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB5 program, we're going to end the EB5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold. So they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. We're going to make sure they're wonderful, world-class global citizens. They can come to America. The president can give them a green card, and they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why do we give out lotteries of green cards? Why do we give out EB5 for green cards? The president of the United States understands that the right answer is, why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America instead?
Or deficit, but it actually could be more money than that. I mean, if you did 10 million, you'd have 15 trillion.
So, 2 years later, the president of the United States, the current administration, all of a sudden creates an executive order to do the same thing that Underdog said would occur, that individuals would see the money potential and get themselves legally integrated with the connection that overcomes this policy, so they don't have to pay the money. You think that's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. President Biden in 2023 created an executive order that gave people the ability who had special skills. That's what the EB5 investment does. An e-visa, there's different types of e-visa, but these are for people who are exceptionally skilled to bring forward AI in the United States. That's what the president did before. This EB5, I want you to understand, this EB5 visa might be the first time you're hearing this before. You've heard of H-1B work visas. You heard of I-130 family-based visas. E-visas are different types, but particularly for people with special skills. The EB5 program allows companies, individuals to come from foreign investments to bring it to the United States. And the congressional 1990s law that Congress created about this thing was that if they come to the United States, foreign investment, foreign money, they are welcome as long as they create 10 American jobs and put down $1 million. I went over that right here with you on March 31st of 2024. I went over that with you right here in March 4th of 2024. I told you that this would be important because it is now, because this explains what happens next. Let's talk about it. So now that we're here, I hope you're awake. I hope that you understand, because this is not an accident. If you don't understand that there's a reason that you got the next day after this, there's a reason that you saw this. Let me put it up here. Let me put it up here where you can see. There's a reason that you saw this right here, $111 million the next day connected to that foreign investment, and you're in the politics of it, and you're paying attention to what you believe the media is telling you. Let me tell you right now, they're not telling the truth. Even from the top down, you're not being telling the truth. Do you think it's really feasible what he just said here? Let me put this up here. Let me put this up. You can see it. Do you really think it's feasible what this the Secretary of Commerce said? The Secretary of Commerce said, well, you know, if we sell 10 million of these things, it will get rid of the total United States deficit. That's what the President of the United States said, and that's what he said. You think that's really what's going on? Because it's not. You think that companies feel like they're going to make more money if each employee has to be $1 million? And excuse me, $5 million for a gold card? What company are we talking about who can afford that? None of them. So this is the sleight of hand. They're making you watch the hand on the left-hand side, and you think that you're being a good person following your politician of choice, but they are deceiving you, folks. The workaround is this. It's very simple. Investments, whether it's Amazon, whether it is a big company, this whole America First narrative is not true. I've told you that crypto is purple. We continue to put our politics into crypto, you'll continue to lose. We have seen over and over again with World Liberty Finance that they're making collaborations and MOUs, memorandums of understandings with South Korea, through BitThumb, to other countries like Bermuda. And I continue to identify these months and years before it occurs. Because the reality is, if you want to make money in this space, you better pay attention to what they're telling you, because you want to do the opposite of what they're telling you. They're telling you that you want to be American first, and they're telling you that you're only going to use the money within these continental US, but they're making the deals to people who have money with these foreign countries because they know the same thing I know. They don't care about where it comes from. They just want to put on a narrative for their base, and they want to make the most amount of money possible. You better wake up. You better wake up and see the reality here. Now, SwiftCoin is exactly in that position. SwiftCoin has an American billionaire who is connected to the United States, who happens to be a Republican. It's not about him being a Republican. He puts his money into Democrat, independents, foreign countries. That is what he does. He has a multifaceted approach to the market. In fact, one of the companies that he has inspired, called Arcanium Capital, they have a CEO called James McDowell that I've talked about. And if you watch my series, you'll find out that whole series about Arcanium Capital. And one of the things he got from Tim Draper, the American billionaire who invests in India, who invests in China, who invests in US, as we see with SwiftCoin and other projects, he calls it the circular economy. We are dealing with a circular economy where us middle class and us who are lower middle class continue to fund the rich because we are being prescribed to the politics of it. And we're blinded by the celebrityism instead of seeing what they're doing. I want you to see what they're doing. I didn't see the fact that they were saying that that immigration was the hot thing. No one was talking about it. There's no videos talked about SwiftCoin immigration, but mine in 2024. But what I saw was that while they're speaking out their mouths and saying one thing, I'm seeing all this money flow this way. Let me tell you what happened, and then we're going to move on. Let me tell you what happened, folks, to SwiftCoin in 2022 to now. So I did this. It'll be the first time you've seen this. Again, pay attention to what I show you, because I show you things that no one else is seeing. So I took a look at SwiftCoin, and I looked at Department of Homeland Security, and I found out what SwiftCoin did from 2017 to now with immigration, specifically in professional, scientific, and their employees. And I identified exactly what they did due to the $5 million gold card, exactly who they hired. I figured out exactly how they took advantage of the congressional law with EB-5 and how they utilized the new immigration policy and the previous immigration policy to form a new company called SwiftGPT. That SwiftGPT, I'm telling you where the money went to. So if you're looking right now into the SwiftCoin's treasury, you're going to find it at very little money because the money has moved. And they are utilizing the laws to their advantage, and they're going to skirt that $5 million gold card. In fact, I've seen it all. And what's happening right now, you need to look at the foreign investment. As much as you want to be America first in your investment, please understand this very, very clearly. I'm telling you, you want to be an American first in your investment, you're by yourself because America is buying from everybody else. Bump the tariff conversation. I'm telling you, the America first is not true. Foreign investments are still flowing into the United States, and they're using the guidelines and rails. Now, let's get to this conversation. I had this conversation April 6th of 2024, and I'm going to go over it. It was with several individuals that I have done conversations with. You can see their logos there. But I want to bring up real quick for you a snippet from that video. And I'm going to run back into SwiftCoin and their immigration and the people that they hired during this time between 2022 and present. Now, you're going to wonder why that's important, just like they asked why it was important before I told them on March the 4th, and we got a big increase. Just like they asked, again, how are we getting there first? Because while you're paying attention to technical analysis, Underdog is looking at what matters. Technical analysis means zero to me. Zero. I don't even look at it. What matters is following that freaking money. Let's talk about what we brought up at that time. During that time frame, in this conversation with these individuals, we talked about Tim Draper. That was Black Rue Investing, brought that up. And then on April 6th of 2024, this was on Black Rue Investing's channel, we brought up an individual right there, John Shin. Now, John Shin was important because I brought that to you. Black Rue Investing brought you Tim Draper. And separately, our research came back together. While Black Rue Investing was following the money through Tim Draper, the American crypto billionaire, who is essential to find out connections. I'm connecting him with Yida Gao, which is over Shima Capital, and John Shin locally through his companies that are in California. Now, Yida Gao, he has a company and also in New York, but Yida Gao's company is connected to a foreign country as well. Now, why is that important? Through that, we learned a lot. They were recapping the conversation that I had brought up in 2024 earlier. Again, if you see this, let's bring it up one more time. April 6th of 2024, this is a collaboration on Swift blockchain. In that conversation, they brought up some of the research I did. What I didn't cover in 2024 is SwiftGPT, because if you go back in time, SwiftGPT at that time was 1 year into its actual creation. And I followed the money in everywhere, and I didn't focus on SwiftGPT. But now where we are in a roadmap, we have to recognize SwiftGPT. If you're only researching SwiftCoin, your research has come to an end. It is at its final stage. There is no more to research than what I've in Black Rue Investing have shared with you in SwiftCoin. There's everything to research with SwiftGPT. And that is what the SwiftGPT is doing for you right now in the series. Now, before I go further, I want to remind you folks that I have the only exclusive series and mini series on SwiftCoin on the line, period. At the analyst level, you can get into this series. It's simple. Scan a QR code or press join. Once you join, you'll have right now waiting for you over 14 videos you have not seen, 14 videos that you will not see anywhere else, 14 opportunities for you to pay attention and take notes, 14 ways of you to blow up your freaking bank accounts coming up. Now, I can't tell you what to buy, but I can tell you that it keeps happening over and over. I see a pattern here. So those who are in it, I appreciate you paying attention. Now, let's get back to the conversation at hand. So as we look through this is what I want you to see. We talked about in this video, again, if we go back here, let me put it here on pause for you, Tim Draper, and I brought up John Shin. Now, Black Rule Investing is the best and only individual online who has properly researched Tim Draper. There is no more you can learn other than going through Black Rule Investing. He holds that spot. And other conversations, but in this conversation about SwiftCoin, you want to talk about Tim Draper, I encourage you to go his channel. That's where I went to after I did my research, and it is so important. Now I'm bringing you to John Shin. Now from that, I want you to know this is what you learn. We learned through the research I gave you in that first video that John Shin had a company called GooCoin, and that was in 2017. What was interesting that I learned about John Shin at that time frame is this right here, that John Shin and also Rambo Lamb of SwiftCoin had the same company name and the same filing, and the address was 1601 MacArthur Boulevard in Milpitas, California. Now, why is that important? Because from that, this is the address associated with John Shin's GooCoin, which came a few months after Rambo Lamb created one in California called GooCoin. Both of them share the same name. And to know that they're connected, John Shin was in the white paper of SwiftCoin. To go a little bit closer so you can see it even better, right there, there's his name. Now notice it says John Shin, but look at it in parentheses, Shin Zhang. Now the reason I bring that up, because as we research into this connection, you have to understand that their names are not even the same. The English translation of the names differ. If you translate from, for example, Chinese to Japanese, if you translate from Japanese to English, translate from Singapore to language to United States American English language, these different variations create different ways that the name will present. The problem with the research is you had to have individuals like myself who recognize that, who then search in the different ways that the names are made and the different variations, and then do the connection. It's very hard to do if you don't know what you're looking for. But what I found is that connection going backwards, I finally found that John Shin, it's the same person here, but his name showed up in two different ways. Again, here, John Shin and Shin John. Now, why is this important? I'll keep getting back to the conversation, because from that, we found out in a white paper, there was other people around. Who were those people? Well, I'm going to connect the dots to you because those people mattered. What I found is this pivot with the immigration started to change, folks, right here in 2022, the same year of another investment that we saw. This investment we saw was from this conversation with Black Rule Investing, and Underdog is right here. We had a change once we saw Shima Capital and Arcanium Capital invest in 2022. The next year over, we saw the creation all the way to the top of this company right here. I know it feels like a lot, but pay attention, folks, of SwiftGPT. So that means we now have to identify who is that individual at the far right under SwiftGPT. If you watch the series, you already know who that is at the far left. You know who that is in the middle, but who is the individual at SwiftGPT? Folks, let me be the first to tell you, SwiftCoin owns new patents. Yep. SwiftCoin owns new patents. I will be doing a series about the multiple new patents that Swift blockchain used to be, now SwiftGPT, owns. I did the first one right here. I did a first one conversation years ago where I covered SwiftCoin's patents on March 26th of 2024. But you have not seen, you do not know that they have new patents. You don't know what they're about. You don't know what country they're in. I'm going to share this with you on the SwiftGPT series. There's a lot of new patents. They're connected to a lot of new people. That's a lot of money that you're sitting on the table because you still have outdated information. Become a member. I wish I could to implore you to do so, but it is for your best good. Share this video. Tell someone to become a member. Don't super chat me. Become a member. That same super chat that you spend would probably be enough for you to be a member. You got so much to see. SwiftCoin has new patents that you are unaware of. And I mean, they're big and there's multiple patents. And I'll be going through each and every new patent. This is the first time you've heard this online. SwiftGPT, the new patents. Now, getting back to the conversation at hand, we got just a few more minutes, and I want to make sure I cover all this because we're going to continue this immigration conversation. Now, what happened? In the same conversation, I told you that there was a change. If we look at this change, what did we find? SwiftCoin had 20 employees. How many does the EB5 investment say you have to have? Their American jobs? 10. That's what I told you March 4th of 2024. How many did they say in 2025 that they was trying to change? They said they're going to change it so it take $5 million. Imagine that for each of those employees. You think that SwiftCoin can stay alive in business when they make an executive order for $5 million for each employee? No. Let's be rational. That's why I'm telling you that this whole concept of we don't want anything else, it's America only, America first, makes zero sense in a global market. 0 cents. If you follow that mindset, I don't know what to tell you. No one's going to care about us in America and other places. They're going to care about their country. Why wouldn't it be France first? Why wouldn't it be the continent of Africa first? Why wouldn't it be South America first? Every country is going to care about their own growth, not a United States growth. Now, is that anti-American? No. Is that anti-patriotism? No. That is common sense. So the narrative is what you're feeding into about this $5 million gold card to do what EB5 does is nonsense. I'm going to show you what is happening instead, how companies like Amazon, Microsoft are skirting this because they're saying out loud one thing because they're under the current administration, but they're waiting it out because this is detrimental for growth. So I want you to know that SwiftCoin started with 20 employees. They increased. What are those employees in? You didn't even know. Have you ever knew who the employees were? Let me help you identify them. Since this new regulation started to go in place, before it happened, it doubled. They doubled. And where did they double? Product and engineering. 36% of the 20 employees that SwiftCoin has were hired specifically according to the Department of Homeland Security and other resources that I looked into in product and engineering. That's the real stats right there. Have you ever seen it? Sales of those 20 employees, 27% of the remaining employees were in sales. That's what they categorize themselves. Operations, 27% of the remaining of those employees were in operations. That's what they title themselves as. And 9% are in marketing. Now, folks, this made up the full amount of individuals who are connected to Swift blockchain. And why did they increase dramatically in product and engineering a year before they created this new proposal of $5 million per employee? How did that affect the CEO himself, who came on an EB5 visa, and now it would cost $5 million? Remember, in 2024, when I showed you on March the 5th, Swift blockchain in its entirety was a $10 million market cap. The proposal would mean that Rambo Lamb himself would need a $5 million in totality for him to be a green card holder with the gold card, which would be 50% of the total amount that the project made. Just imagine that deficit on the project, even when it flipped. Just imagine that. Now you see the importance of seeing how the immigration is affecting it. So they're having to move money. They're having to move people. They're increasing people. Why are they increasing people? Because they're trying to grandfather in, because the congressional law has not been overridden. The executive order does not override the congressional law of EB5. But currently, under the current administration, you have to be wary of how the laws affect the projects. If you want to know why the project and a lot of projects are drastically going down, because crypto has been a global market. And with these immigration policies in place, like the $5 million gold card that now companies are facing, they have to circumvent, change, and get new companies and register them in a way that they can protect their interests until the law or executive order is over with. So we got to see where they're going to put their money next. And I see exactly where they're going to put their money next. Now, let's finish this conversation up, folks. Now, we are going through this, and I just want you to see some of these important pieces. What we're going to go to next is the reality. I told you, and I'm showing this for a reason. On March the 31st of 2024, play this video back. I mentioned three countries that had sponsored the EB5 investment. And these three countries are not by accident. And I also showed you in the SwiftCoin mini-series, these companies who invested in SwiftCoin through MetaPath, where the money came from. They're all connected through the immigration aspect. There's a reason why the money are moving to these places. Pay attention to this, and then we're out. So if you look at the overall conversation about the money coming from, I picked out three countries in 2024. The first country, Vietnam. Here's the U.S. president in that term, the first term. U.S. President Donald Trump holds a Vietnamese flag, and Vietnam Prime Minister Nguyen Quang Phuc waves the U.S. flag upon their arrival to a meeting in a government office in 2019. The U.S. president holding a Vietnam flag in his first term. It's not an accident, folks, but you need more confirmation. So let me give it to you. I told you March 31st of 2024, Vietnam was important. Let's bring this up again. Current administration. Again, October 29th of 2025. Let's go back real quick because y'all don't hear me. I told you dates matter. I told you. Let's try this again. October the 7th of 2025. I told you the immigration matters. I told you that about what's happening. And then fast forward, let's go down to the proof. Here's an article, October the 29th. That's after I told you this about the connection with SwiftCoin. State President Lu Dong-Kung meets with U.S. President Donald Trump and ROK discussing trade agreement progress. Vietnam welcomes the U.S. active and responsible contributions in Asia, Pacific, and the Indian Oceans. Nah, you not hear me. China. I told you, Rambo Lamb, 2004. Let's go all the way back. I'm here today to show you the connections. Learned that Beijing Taijing Dying Technology Company was the original company before GuCoin that was connected to Swift blockchain in China, created in 2004, and specifically November the 2nd, 2004. Tim Draper in 2018 invested into SwiftCoin went live in the United States in 2017, but it first was in Singapore. And what did they do? They connected through Swift Blockchain, and Tim Draper, who is a multi-billionaire in crypto who invests in Hong Kong, China, found this individual here to immigrate to the United States using the EB5 investment. And then John Shin, the man on the ground who does EB5 investments, created the new company. And what was that new company he created, folks? You got it. You guessed it. It's not a secret. We see it right here. It was right here, GooCoin. And then what did he do then? He created GooCoin. GooCoin by him, 10/3/2016. GooCoin by him, 6/16/2017. And John Shin was on the white paper. You think it's a coincidence, folks? You think it's a coincidence. It's not. Proposed March 4th of 2025. Underdog told you March 4th of 2024. Now, where we at, folks? I'm showing you these connections so we get there. October 7th of 2025. I told you about the immigration policies that are changing and coming. And sure enough, here we go, folks. October the 29th of 2025, we saw it again. Vietnam shows up. China shows up. You learned about that. China, Vietnam, through the EB5 investment. You learned about that in the same video right here. Let me give it to you. Let me give it to you so we can see it. So we go through it one more time. I got so much stuff up here. We got to see it. We learned about it through the patent and trademarks on March 26th of 2024. And we also learned through it through the earlier video on March 4th. Now, this is what I want you to see. There's another one. They said it here. They said India and Vietnam and China. And then here's the president making an agreement with India. The president making an agreement with China. President making an agreement with Vietnam. And he's been making that agreement since 2019. You think it's a coincidence? This is what you're seeing, folks. These three countries are one of the highest amount, not including South Korea, of EB5 investors that come to the United States. That money is here in the trillions from these countries. India, Singapore, China, or in this case, China, we have it here. We got Vietnam here, and we got India. Now, in the other series, I've already connected the dots. I've connected to Vietnam, you see there, connected to SWIFT. We've connected to China, connected to SWIFT. We've connected to India, South Korea, Switzerland, Bermuda, Japan, all connected to SWIFT blockchain. So, folks, this has been the full conversation. Now, I made this in this manner because I want you to see what you have. Swift Technology Worldwide Financial. Read the name of the token. Swift Technology Worldwide Financial has now turned into SwiftGPT. That is everything for today. This is the first start of this conversation. This is free for all you to watch, regardless if you're a member. I need to get everybody knowledgeable, but this is only a fraction. I told you a lot of big things today. Go back through this. I'll time code it for you as well for the members. This will be a time coded video uploaded to the playlist specifically for the SwiftGPT and the Swift mini series. The $1 million pivot in immigration matters. Folks, don't forget, I have the SwiftCoin mini series that connects Arcanium Capital and Shima Capital and the countries associated with. And you can get all this by simply scanning the QR code, becoming an analyst level member, and you can get caught up. This is going to be going on for months, but you're going to get behind. You're already 14, 15 episodes behind. When it moves, don't say I didn't tell you, because it's about to make a move. Now, that's everything, folks. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I will reach out again to you, but I wanted to do this live so that you can have this video and you can watch it yourself. Until next time, this has been the Underdog Research Channel with SwiftGPT Exposed, $1 million pivot to immigration. Check out the next episode coming soon.
Come on, mate. We could all be friends. Ay, if you could see my capital, homie, bet you find out I'm see my capital, homie. Yeah, relying on these dragons, but they ain't Tim Draper. The only path is my path down forever, team paper. OUAI, that's my TBT. Go deep sea, check the stacks, I've been GPT. Every damn secure and collateral, still compatible with all my crypto bros in the States and Chinese nationals. So international, money grandma on the line. I'm so cross-chain, it's like cross on the other line. You talking swaps, I'm on top. You wanna swap, I got NFTs you can drop. Bigger picture now, rip on my brother, we share with mother XRP. Click the gold, we building a bridge together. Bloom doing things we weren't expecting this soon. I hit up Mocha, got his voice milk, his homie was on the moon, we at the top.